everybody. It's Chris from the Evermore podcast, Newcastle United podcast, and the Evermore YouTube channel. We're back with the Rumour has a video about players who've been linked to the club during the transfer window, and there's a hell of a lot of them, as you probably gathered by now. We're doing a video a day pretty much now with all the players that have been linked. So, as I mentioned, in previous videos before, as Mark has, this is not an ITK channel. We don't know a guy who knows a guy. We've got no inside track at all. This is literally just talk about players who have been linked through various elements of the media, kind of through journalists, through social media, through Chinese whispers, all these other things as well. So we're going to bring you these players as much as we can through the summer, and it's good to be linked to players again. We've had 14 years of not buying anybody really, so we're not going to apologise for being linked to all these players, but some of them we'll like, some of them we won't, which we'll get stuck into in a minute. It'll be interesting to see what you guys think about the next person we're going to talk about. But before I do a bit of housekeeping, if you haven't already, please click that like and subscribe button. We're on 1,070 subscribers right now, so thank you so much to everybody who supported the channel. The more you click, the more we grow, and the more content we can bring you. Hit that notification bell too, so you don't miss out on any videos that we post up, whether it be the Rumour Has It videos, the specials, the weekly live shows, or the done deal videos, which hopefully we're going to be having another one soon, with the news of Sven Botman breaking as well tonight, which has been absolutely amazing. So a little bit more of that on the end of the video, but let's get stuck into this other player first. So as I mentioned, this player is certainly going to polarize opinion. I know exactly what my opinion is on this player, which I'm going to get into in a minute. So let's pull him up and brace yourselves. We're talking about Richarlison from Everton. Who I think, looking at Mark's amazing stat slides that he does so well, he's probably missing one key element there, which is shithouse and wanker, which I think would be a green bar all day long for Richarlison. Not a very liked player, to be brutally honest with you, by any other fan in the league. Just seems to have an absolutely dreadful persona. Just looks like he'd start a fight in a phone box. A bit Craig Bellamy-ish, but without the impact, in my opinion. He seems to flatter to deceive. You look at his stats, his goals, kind of in appearances on the right-hand side there between Everton and Watford. He reminds me a lot of an Iosi Perez, but at least Perez was likeable. Even when he put his fingers in his ears, there was a likability about it. You know what I mean? He seemed to be a decent enough lad. Richarlison isn't an out-and-out goal scorer. He's not a 25 goal a season striker like Dominic Calvert-Lewin potentially is for Everton when he's fit. He's more of a kind of off the front, either out wide or the left hand side, as the heat map shows, an attacking threat. But I think this lad is under a bit of a delusional sense that he thinks he's a much better player than he is. There's been talk of Real Madrid interested. There's Spurs apparently are interested this summer. Chelsea are looking at him. But the latest talk, and it's really coming from journalists. Really, I think it's a bit lazy as well. To be fair, I think Ben Jacobs is the main guy who's pushed it out there. That's kind of started doing the rounds. Is that Newcastle United will be looking at Richarlison if or when the Ekitike deal falls through. Now, we know we've had some complications with the Ekitike deal, which we don't know if it's dead yet. It certainly appears to be looking that way, but we don't know for certain. You've only got to look at the Sven Botman saga to see how much that can swing back and forth. For me, the figures they're talking about for Richarlison, he's a 25-year-old Brazilian international. He should be coming to the peak of his powers. He's certainly not worth this level of money. Mark's called him a waste of money in the video thread there, and I can't disagree with that. 65 million quid they're talking about for Richarlison, which I believe was Erling Haaland's buyout clause from Borussia Dortmund. So that just goes to show you the overinflated price of Premier League players. Richarlison is not worth 65 million quid as long as I have a hole in my arse, and I just don't think the lad's anywhere near that good of a player. When you look at some of his stats there, as you can see, his goals per 90 minutes is low, in the 43 percentile. Assists is fairly high, in a poor Everton side. That's not a bad level of assists per 90 minutes. Of course, these stats are going to be a little bit skewed because he spent the whole season fighting relegation more or less. But I just don't think he's that good of a player, to be honest with you. If you look at his pass completions there, his aerials one is low. His dribbling's low, his shots on target is low. As Mark says there, his defensive duties is probably what he's better at in terms of tracking back and winning the ball. Awareness, discipline, and passing are his real weaknesses. And like I said, I think attitude's a huge issue with this player as well. I mean, he's only just been fighting with his teammates on international duty as well. He just reeks as a toxic figure to bring into your club, and I just don't think that this club and this manager in particular, Eddie Howe, want anything to do with a player like this. It'd be different if he was unbelievably talented. And I do think there's a player in there. Don't get me wrong. I think he can be good. And I think when he is good, he does change games, and it doesn't matter who he's playing against. He's got pace, he's got a bit of movement. He gets stuck in, like I said, a bit Bellamy-esque in a way. But for me, it's too few and far between. For 65 million quid, I know football's an inflated market, but for 65 million quid, you expect a hell of a lot more consistency than what Richarlison could give you. Every time I've seen his name linked with Newcastle United on Twitter, I know Twitter can be a bit of a minefield sometimes, but every single time I've seen this guy's name linked anywhere near Newcastle fans have recoiled in absolute disgust at the mention of the guy's name. And I've got to agree with you guys, it's a huge no for me. Certainly for 65 million quid, I mean, get fucked, no chance. He's nowhere near worth that for me. There's better players out there. I'd rather take a chance on Calvert-Lewin, who, again, in the video I did on the channel, I had reservations about him too, but I think he's a much better footballer than Richarlison. You're looking at our attacking threat. You got the likes of St. Maximin and Almiron, who can play in and around that kind of attacking area. Jesse Lingard's on a free. Lingard could play in the front three, and I think he would give you more than Richarlison would do. More consistency as well. I know he's a few years older, but he'd be a player I would rather sign. So for me, Richarlison's a huge no. But let us know what you think in the comments below, guys. Whether you think you'd be happy for the Brazilian to come in. I saw a great comment on Twitter. I can't remember who said it. Someone said he's just Shelby in a wig, which was quite funny because he does look quite similar to him with that Duke of Montrose, as my mother always used to say, God rest her soul. Huge big beak on Richarlison, but his attitude stinks for me, and I don't think he would go down very well with this squad one bit, and not with this manager. But again, we always like to know what you guys think, so drop us a comment and we'll do our best to come back to you and reply. This could potentially just be, for me, the agents having a bit word with a media source, just trying to get them whip up a little bit of interest, to try and force another club to make a move. I don't think Richarlison is really on our radar. I think Ekitike was the striker we were looking for. I think as the lads have mentioned, I know certainly Adam mentioned as well that on the channel that Callum Wilson's return to form towards the back end of the season, the fact that he come back with a bang made the new owners rethink this, potential new spend big on a striker. Obviously, we've seen Darwin Núñez go to Liverpool, whether we were in there or not. That was big money needed to be spent there. Obviously, Haaland's gone to Manchester City. We would never really been in that. I think that was always the move that he was wanting to do. These Mbappe deals were all just pipe dreams. But, I think Ekitike is the player that they really want to bring in because, he's the right age. I think he's a young player. He can play in that front three. He can play through the middle as the main striker if Wilson's injured. He can play alongside Wilson in the front too. So I don't think the Ekitike deal is dead yet. But the fact that there is some replacements or alternatives being suggested, it might mean that deal is tampering out a little bit. But listen, we'll wait and see who else is linked, and we'll bring you as many videos as we can with our opinion on. But it's a huge no for Richarlison for me, just to reconfirm that. And I'm pretty sure most of you guys in the comments will say the same thing as well. As I mentioned before, if you haven't already, please click that like and subscribe button. Get as many subscribers on board as we can. We love the channel to grow, so we can bring you a lot more content through the summer before the season starts, and we'll be back with a weekly Evermore podcast. We should be back this Wednesday with a special guest as well, so please make sure you come and check that out. Me and Adam are going to be joined by an ex-Newcastle player, hopefully, if we can get all the diaries aligned, and that'll be a really, really good show. And we'd love you to bing some questions for them in the comments as well, and we'll put them to them, and it should be a fantastic watch. And yeah, we're looking forward to that, and hopefully we're going to be back soon with a deal done video for the Botman, Sven Botman. Hopefully that is going to come off, because that is a saga that's been rumbling on, and if we can sign that player, you never know, I might even convince Ekitike to tell these agents to pull their finger out and get this deal done, and then we'll have two of the most exciting players in Europe. So keep watching the channel, guys. We'll bring you loads more content in the coming weeks. This is Chris signing off. Let's keep supporting that team, Newcastle United, and we'll catch you later. Cheers.